maybe you should put the mic.
कौन कौन से भक्त है जिनको हिंदी चाहिए, नहीं तो वो यहाँ पे बैठ सकते हैं ना। तो आप ज्यादा पीछे बैठ जाओ, 2-3 ही। Other only 2-3 you can sit there and narrate for them.
Otherwise, we'll have only half the lecture.
Yes, that's better, Maharaj.
Huh?
So you can go there.
All right.
And then तो आप वहाँ चले जाइए.
Yes. Ommakana Kimaranda Shalakaya Jaksur Meditana Tasmishwita Vanchakaupa Tarubyasya Kripa Sindhu Vayevacha Paritanam Bhavanibhyo Rachanabhyo Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Shri Advaita Srivasadi Gaur Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare. So Srila Prabhupada went to the Western world and he reached and very early on he registered the Society, International Society for Krishna Consciousness. So that was 60 years ago. So this year we are celebrating a little bit the 60 years our society, the Society of Islam, has been in formation. And one of the things which Srila Prabhupada did was he introduced all of us to festivals which take place annually. Festivals like in another short time it will be Janmashtami. Another month or so we'll celebrate Janmashtami, the birth of Lord Krishna. And Srila Prabhupada taught us how to observe Janmashtami. And then we would also do things like Ekadasi. Today is Ekadasi. And Srila Prabhupada taught us that Ekadasi is also a holy day. So festivals, Janmashtami is only once a year, but Ekadasi you get twice a month. So we have a lot of Ekadasis every year. And we celebrate that in their own way, each festival in their own way. And then one thing which happened was when Srila Prabhupada was in San Francisco, he'd asked some devotees. First he began in New York, and then one of the devotees was going to San Francisco. So Srila Prabhupada suggested to him, try to introduce people there to Krishna consciousness. So when the devotee went there, he managed to meet people who were interested, and they got a group of people together and they asked Srila Prabhupada to come there. So Srila Prabhupada went there to San Francisco and he was introducing the devotees there how to practice Krishna consciousness. So it happened one day, one of the young ladies had gone into an Indian import store. Especially in the 1960s and 70s, there were a lot of Indian import stores were something new, They bring different things from India and people would be interested in different brass items and incense and things like this. Even I remember myself, we used to get Indian sweets, very interesting Indian sweets, we'd never tasted anything so sweet ever. Anyway, it happened, this one young lady had gone to the Indian import store And she came back and she brought a doll with her and she showed it to Srila Prabhupada. And when Srila Prabhupada saw the doll, he folded his hands in respect, and she was surprised. And he told her, "This is Lord Jagannath." And she didn't know, it was just some doll which she picked up there. And she brought and showed it to Prabhupada, and Srila Prabhupada said, "This is Lord Jagannath. This is a form of Lord Krishna, and it's worshipable." And there's a big temple in India where Lord Jagannath has been worshipped for thousands of years. So Srila Prabhupada requested her to go back to the shop and see if there were any other dolls there. And she came back with Balarama and Subhadra. And then Srila Prabhupada requested any of the devotees if they knew sculpture. And so one of the devotees was given the task to get some blocks of wood and to carve out some Jagannath forms. And the devotee did that, about this size of Jagannath. And he got blocks of wood and he carved out Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra and painted them according to like the dolls. And then Prabhupada put them in the temple and he showed the devotees how to offer arti in a very simple way. But Prabhupada said this was the arrangement of Lord Jagannath, that he appeared to the devotees there. So it was not just by chance, but it was the arrangement of the Lord himself, that he wanted to be worshipped there. So Srila Prabhupada introduced the worship of Jagannath there. And when they opened the center there in San Francisco, they called it New Jagannath Puri. And then Srila Prabhupada told the devotees how, and when they worship Lord Jagannath, it's customary to have a Ratha Yatra. So devotees they didn't know anything, but Srila Prabhupada explained to them. He said, "You get a vehicle or a cart or something, and you can ride on it and put deities on it. Put Jagannath and Baladev and Subhadra there, and then people pull the chariot. They should pull the chariot." And so the devotees did like that. There's a big park there in San Francisco, the Golden Gate Park, and they arranged to put on a big festival of Ratha Yatra there in the park. So it became very popular to have Ratha Yatra festivals. And more temples they copied. They saw what had happened there in San Francisco, and they asked Prabhupada, "Can we also do like that?" And Prabhupada said, "Yes, why not?" So it happened also in London and in New York, and then in Australia, in Melbourne, and Sydney. They would have Ratha Yatra festivals. And Srila Prabhupada would enjoy going to these festivals. He'd like to take part. The Ratha Yatra festival, it's an opportunity for Lord Jagannath to come out of the temple, because not everyone is willing to go into the temple. To go into the temple requires, you should take off your shoes. You don't go into the temple wearing shoes. You leave the shoes outside. And so not everyone is willing to do that. But Lord Jagannath is so kind that every year he comes out of the temple. Now, the worship of Lord Jagannath, as it's done today, they have a big temple there in Orissa. That's really the home of Jagannath there in Orissa. But that temple is restricted to people born in Hindu families. If you're from a non-Hindu family, then you're not supposed to go into the temple. And if you do go into the temple and they find out that you're not a Hindu family, then it's very serious. And and because what happens when somebody who's from a non-Hindu family going into the temple, all the cooking and all the worship and everything, it's all ruined. And the whole temple has to be purified. And all the food which has been cooked, they throw it away and they'll cook again. So it's a very big thing, very serious. If somebody from nothing, and even 500 years ago, that is in the time of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there were people like Haridas Thakur. Now, Haridas Thakur was born in a Mohammedan family, so he could not go in the temple, and he would sit on the beach. He stayed at Jagannath Puri. He never went in the temple, but he stayed on the beach and he was chanting there. He was Haridas Thakur was given the position Nam Acharya because every day he would chant 3 lakh names of the Hare Krishna mantra. 3 lakh names means 192 rounds. You know, usually when we take initiation, we're asked to chant minimum 16 rounds. But Haridas Thakur every day, for many, many years, he was chanting 192 rounds. So take the whole day, You don't do anything else. When you do so much chanting, you can't do anything else. And Haridas would just sit and chant the whole day. And he would see Jagannath, he would see only the tower, the chakra, a chakra on the top of the temple of Jagannath. But then at Ratha Yatra, Lord Jagannath comes out. And Haridas would take part in the Ratha Yatra. And it's during that Ratha Yatra time that many non-Hindus can come and they can see the deities and they can get the darshan, they can get the blessings of Lord Jagannath. So it's a very, very important festival. And later on, we learned also other parts of the festival, like they have a thing called Snan Yatra, which is the bathing of Jagannath. So the bathing of Jagannath has already taken place. The Snan Yatra was like more than a week ago. And that's a festival. The deities are brought out from the temple and they're bathed. And everyone gets a chance to pour some things like sacred water or yogurt or milk or ghee or honey, sometimes coconuts and fruit juices also, to bathe the Lord, to bathe Lord Jagannath. So this is a nice festival. The devotees all enjoy. Many people come and take part bathing the deity. But after the Snan Yatra, after the bathing is over, then Lord Jagannath is he goes into seclusion. It's like they say that Lord Jagannath got sick from the bathing. Just like if you bathe maybe with very cold water or something, you can get sick. So Lord Jagannath and Balaram and Subhadra, the 3 of them become sick. And they're convalescing. So they stay in a room. And only a few people, the pujaris, will see the deities at that time. They won't be on the altar. They won't be in the temple, but they'll be in seclusion. seclusion in a private room, and they'll stay there for 2 weeks. And during that time, they're brought special food, just like when you're sick, you get some special food, you get some nice, refreshing drinks, and you get some food which is easily digestible. And so, like that, they will prepare special things to offer to Lord Jagannath while he's in that condition. But then, after 2 weeks, then they recover. And they come out from the room again. And that's when the Ratha Yatra will take place. So this is the tradition as if Lord Jagannath is worshipped in Jagannath Puri. Actually, the day before the deities come out from the room, that day is called Gundicha Marjanam. And in temples where they are observing this, they will have also the Gundicha Marjanam, the cleansing of the temple of Gundicha. Gundicha is the place where Lord Jagannath is going to go. See, Lord Jagannath, he's been residing in his big temple, which is like Dwarka or something, And he's coming out and he's going to go to Gundicha. And Gundicha is like Vrindavan. Yeah. You see? So Gundicha is like Lord Jagannath's home. Krishna's home is from Vrindavan, right? So the Gundicha temple has been empty for 1 year. So in the course of 1 year, just like if you have a home here and you go away for a year and then come back, then home will be very dusty and dirty. You have to clean the whole place. So Gundicha is like that. For 1 year, nobody's been there. And Gundicha is by the seashore. So there's a lot of sand and a lot of dust and stuff. So you have to really clean the whole place. So that it's another festival. And Lord Chaitanya, he would take part in this festival, cleaning the temple. Cleaning the temple is like cleaning the heart, right? Is your heart clean? Well, that's why we clean the temple, right? We want to make sure it's very clean. And when Lord Chaitanya would clean, he brought all the devotees, hundreds of devotees all came, and he gave them all buckets, and he gave them pots also for water. He gave them brooms, and he asked them all to clean the place. And he was also cleaning, and they were throwing water everywhere. They were washing the ceiling and the walls, and the water was flowing like a river through the different rooms of the Gundicha temple. And Lord Chaitanya would, after they cleaned, he would say, now clean again. Not just once, but clean twice to make sure all the dust, everything is removed. Just that's how thorough you have to be. We want to clean the heart. We think, oh, no, I'm clean, I'm okay. You have to clean again. Make sure we're really clean, got everything clean, got rid of everything, all of the what we call anarthas, the things we don't want, which are there in the heart. What's there in the heart? Well, Kam, Krodh, Lobh, Moha, Mada, Matsarya, these things. Lust, anger, greed, illusion, madness, envy. So we have to get rid of all of these things. We don't want to keep these things in the heart. So it's very important before Lord Jagannath comes, you want the Lord to sit in our heart. We have to clean the heart. And you want Lord Jagannath to come to Gundicha, we have to clean the temple of Gundicha and prepare it nicely for the Lord to come and sit there. And so then the next day, after Gundicha Marjanam, the next day is the day of Ratha Yatra. And the deities are brought out from the temple, and there's a big welcome, a big reception for the deities because they've been away for 2 weeks. They've been in seclusion. So when they come up, usually when they come out, they've been painted again. You know, Lord Jagannath is very colorful. You know, Lord Jagannath's more black, and Balarama is white, and Subhadra is yellow. So the deities are painted. The paint is refreshed. Some more paint on the deities, and they come up looking very resplendent and decorated with nice garlands and flowers. And they're brought out. And of course, in Jagannath Puri, the deities are very big. They're very big. It's very difficult. They have many men carrying them, each deity. And so they're brought out, and each deity is put on a chariot. And these chariots are amazing. They build one chariot every year. They build a new chariot every year. And it takes months and months to build one chariot. They have many craftsmen every year who build these chariots and big wheels, all out of wood, special trees they have, which they use to make the chariots. So they build chariots, and when they build the chariots, they put the chariot together. They don't use any nails. You know, usually we're putting nails in everything, but you'll see the chariots for Lord Jagannath, there are no nails there. They put the whole thing to get the wood just all constructed together, put it all together so nicely. And then there's no brakes on the chariot either. And it's huge, you know. And once the chariot starts rolling, how do you stop it? There's no brakes. So every year, practically, you know, people die. It's really amazing, you know. The chariot is so big and it's so colossal, and then it starts rolling, and people start running, and oh my, it's you know, it's like a stampede. The people are pulling and chanting and dancing, and all the noise is tremendous, and people are pulling, and everyone's chanting Jai Jagannath, Jai Jagannath. And they're pulling, and hundreds of people are pulling on the ropes, and the chariot starts to roll. And when the chariot starts to roll, it doesn't stop. Stops them. People have to run. And it's just amazing. Just this whole thing. So, of course, in Western countries, in our own way, we celebrate this Rath Yatra. All over India, also, are different centers in India. They're also putting on the Rath Yatra. We have a, we don't have such nice chariots as they have in Jagannath Puri. You know, it's a very big expense. The Indian government, they meet that expense every year to build the chariot. But ISKCON, we have, you know, we do it in a simpler way. Our festival of Rath Yatra is not done quite the same way as they do it in Jagannath Puri. That what we have the Rath Yatra, we use it more as a, well, it's just an opportunity to bring the devotees together and to help them to get them to participate in the glorification of Lord Jagannath. In Jagannath Puri, it's more of a ritual ceremony which has been done every year for thousands of years. And the whole festival was inaugurated. There was one King Indrajumna, and he was the one who wanted very much to worship the Lord. So Lord Jagannath appeared. Well, actually, it's quite a story how Lord Jagannath appeared in the manner in which he did. Indrajumna Maharaj wanted to worship the Lord. So the Lord told him that there are going to be 3 logs of wood washed ashore. And he told Indrajumna Maharaj that you have to get someone to carve the form of the Lord out of these 3 logs of wood. So it happened, 3 logs of wood were washed ashore at Puri. And so Indrajumna Maharaj requested any sculptor who could come if they could carve the form of the Lord. So different people came, but they could not do anything. The wood was so hard, they broke their chisels. They could not do anything. Then finally, this one man came. He was a leper. He had leprosy, but he came and he was able to carve. He was actually Vishwakarma. He was the from the heavenly planets. He was a demigod, and he had come to do this task to carve the form of the Lord. So he told Maharaj Indrajumna that you have to give me a room, and I will carve the form of the Lord, but it will take some time. You have to put me in a room, and I don't want to be disturbed by anyone. So Maharaj Indrajumna agreed, and they brought the 3 logs of wood, and they gave the nice room to this one leper, and they told him, you can carve, do your work here. We will be outside waiting. So Maharaj Indrajumna was outside waiting, and he could hear, the chipping, the hammering, and the chipping going on, and he was happy to see that work is going on. However, after some days, he could not hear any more noise. And he wondered, maybe he's finished the work. Maybe he's already carved the form. And he was anxious. So he got so impatient that he went into the room. And when he went into the room, then Vishwakarma said, now you've broken the bow. He said, now I'm going. And he disappeared. And Indrajumna looked and he saw the forms. They had no hands and no legs. And so Maharaj Indrajumna felt very guilty that, oh, this is my fault, that I have broke because I was so impatient to see the form of the Lord. He went away and they slept. The Lord is left. He has no hands and he has no legs. And he was feeling very bad. But then a voice came from the sky. A heavenly voice spoke and said, no, Maharaj, it's not like that. This is the form in which the Lord wants to be worshipped in this age. This is the very special form of the Lord. He wants to be worshipped in this particular way. And surprising, no hands and no legs. And his eyes were so big. The eyes of each of the deities were so dilated. He thought, such an unusual form. But the voice said, this is a very special form of the Lord. And it's told it happened that it happened in Dwarka. Lord Krishna was residing in Dwarka, and the Lord Krishna was always Lord Krishna was feeling separation from the devotees of Vrindavan and the people in the devotees there in Dwarka. They did not know anything about what Lord Krishna had been doing in Vrindavan. So one day they asked Rohini to tell them about Lord Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan. Rohini was the mother of Lord Balaram. Now Krishna's mother and father, they were in the prison, in the house of prison in Kamsa's jail. But Rohini, she gave birth to Lord Balaram, and she gave birth in the home of Nanda Maharaj and Mother Yashoda, because Rohini was also a wife of Vasudeva. Originally, Balaram was in the womb of Yashoda, of Devaki, but then she was, during the pregnancy, after certain months, she was transferred by Yoga Maya into the womb of Rohini. And Rohini had been sent to Vasudeva, to Nanda and Yashoda's home in Vrindavan for protection, because they didn't want that she should also be put in the prison. So she was there in Vrindavan, and she gave birth to Lord Balaram there in Vrindavan. And of course, Lord Krishna had also come there to Vrindavan. Vasudeva had brought Krishna there as well. So Krishna up in Vrindavan. And Rohini, she had been there in Vrindavan, and she had witnessed all the childhood pastimes of Lord Krishna. So they asked Rohini, you know, you're the only one who knows about Krishna's pastimes in Vrindavan. The other people, Vasudeva and Devaki and the Yadu dynasty, and all, they were all there in Dwarka. They had never seen anything about Vrindavan. They didn't know about Krishna's pastimes there. So they asked Rohini, we want you to tell us. So Rohini said, well, okay, I will tell you, but we have to be very careful, because if Krishna hears, it will be very painful for him. Lord Krishna, he was staying there in Dwarka, and they were, if Krishna was to hear Rohini speaking about Vrindavan, oh, he will feel so much pain and separation from the Brijbasi people. So they said, all right, then we have to have somebody guard the door, make sure Krishna doesn't come. Right? So this way, Rohini began speaking, and they had Subhadra to guard the door, make sure Krishna doesn't come. But what happened? Rohini began to speak, to talk about Vrindavan, and everyone was listening. Oh, they were hearing so carefully, and they didn't notice Krishna and Balaram came in, and they stood on either side of Subhadra, and they were hearing Rohini speak about Vrindavan. And as she was speaking, they were going, oh, oh, you know, and their eyes were growing bigger and bigger. Oh, that was so wonderful, so amazing to hear about Lord Krishna and Balaram's pastimes in Vrindavan. And as they were hearing more and more, their arms and legs shrunk into their body. So this is the form of Lord Jagannath. Krishna and Balaram and Subhadra, their arms and legs are shrunk into their body, and their eyes are dilated. Their eyes have expanded so big. because they're absorbed in hearing and remembering Vrindavan. So this is a very special form of Lord Krishna and Lord Balaram and Subhadra. I went to Kathmandu some time ago, and in Kathmandu, they have three deities, Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra. Before hearing the pastimes of before hearing Rohini speak. So in that form, you can see Jagannath, Baladev, and Subhadra. They have arms and legs, and their eyes are normal because they had not yet heard they had not yet heard Rohini speak about about Vrindavan. So those deities are very special there in Kathmandu. They're being worshipped by devotees there. The big size as well. Anyway, this is the significance of the form of Lord Jagannath. His arms and legs are shrunk to the body, and his eyes are expanded because he's remembering the wonders of Vrindavan. So the Ratha Yatra festival is a festival of bringing the Lord to Vrindavan, bringing him back to Vrindavan. It happened that 5,000 years ago, there was going to be one eclipse. So during the eclipse, it is customary, we close the temple, there's no darshan of the deities when there's an eclipse. So 5,000 years ago, Lord Krishna was residing in Dwarka, and he got information there's going to be one eclipse. Lord Krishna decided he would come from Dwarka, he would go to Kurukshetra, and he wanted to perform some rituals there. The purpose of the rituals was to counteract the inauspiciousness of the eclipse and to give charity to the great sages and brahmanas and so on there. And in this way, counteract the inauspiciousness of the eclipse. So Lord Krishna came from Dwarka to Kurukshetra, and he had also arranged to inform the gopis of Vrindavan that he is coming there and that they could meet at Kurukshetra. So Kurukshetra was the one place outside of Vrindavan where Lord Krishna met with the gopis. And the gopis, of course, they were eager. They had not seen Krishna for a long time. Lord Krishna had spent his childhood there in Vrindavan. But then he'd gone to Mathura. He was 11 years and 4 months old when he went to Mathura. Kamsa had arranged the wrestling match. So when Lord Krishna went to Mathura, at that time, the cowherd boys all came to attend. So Lord Krishna said, cowherd boys don't need to come to Kurukshetra. You all came to Mathura. This time it's the turn of the gopis. You have to stay back and take care of the cows, and the gopis can all come to Kurukshetra and we can meet. So all the gopis came there. Of course, they're very anxious again to meet Lord Krishna. But when they came there to Kurukshetra, it was a surprise for them because they saw Krishna as like a different person. Previously, they knew Krishna as a cowherd boy. So cowherd boys in Vrindavan, they play the flute. They call the cows by playing the flute. Lord Krishna, of course, is very expert on playing the flute. And he could call the cow. Not only did, when Krishna would play the flute, all the demigods would become stunned. And even the river Yamuna would stop flowing. They were so stunned by the sounds produced from Lord Krishna's flute. Anyway, Lord Krishna, as a cowherd boy, he had a flute and he was dressed in the simple clothes of the cowherd boy, and he had the peacock feather, of course, because there's many peacocks in Vrindavan. So he would take some plumes and put them in his crown. And in this way, this is how the gopis knew Krishna. They knew him as the cowherd boy. But now he's coming from Dwarka and he's a bit different. He's changed. You know, just like when you go back to India from Dubai, you know. Oh, you're so changed, you know, you're so different, you know. So Lord Krishna it was quite a shock to the gopis to see the change in him. And the gopis decided that actually the prince of Dwarka, coming from Dwarka as a prince, this was not so pleasing to the gopis. And they said also, this place, Kurukshetra, it is not like Vrindavan. Kurukshetra, so many military were there, all the soldiers and chariots coming forward and moving. The horses are there, and the elephants even are there. So a lot of dust is kicked up from the movement of all the elephants and horses and the traffic. And there was no beauty like Vrindavan. There were not the trees. There was no river Yamuna. There was no Govardhan Hill. So the gopis said, we don't want this Krishna here at Kurukshetra. We're going to bring Krishna to Vrindavan. So they had the first Ratha Yatra took place at Kurukshetra. Kurukshetra is famous, you see, for two things. One is for the speaking of the Bhagavad Gita, and the other thing is Ratha Yatra. The first Ratha Yatra took place there at Kurukshetra. And the gopis, they arranged a chariot and they put Krishna on the chariot and they pulled Krishna back to Vrindavan. So every year when we have Ratha Yatra festival, that is the mood which we should have when we're taking part in the pulling of the chariot, that we're bringing Lord Krishna back to Vrindavan. Right. We want Vrindavan is its home, right? Krishna Janika Namahe, Gokula Janika Dhamahe, right? And so Krishna's home is Vrindavan, Gokul is Vrindavan. Lord Krishna likes to be there in Vrindavan, and the gopis, they want Krishna to be in Vrindavan. They don't want Krishna in Kurukshetra. So Lord Chaitanya would take part in Ratha Yatra festival every year, and the mood is bringing Krishna back to Vrindavan. So of course we do the festival in a simpler way. In some places, like here in this country, we cannot go out in the public, so we do it in an enclosed area. Just like in countries like Singapore, they don't allow festivals in the street. So what we do in Singapore, we rent like a football ground, and we go around the field, you know. And so similarly here also, you know, Ratha Yatra is conducted inside, not outside. We have to consider everything: time, place, and circumstances. So according to the situation, we have the festival, we put the deities on the chariot, and we pull the chariot around. And the mood is bringing Krishna back to Vrindavan. And as we're pulling the chariot, of course, there's kirtan, the chanting of the holy names. And we also distribute prasadam at the same time. And so it's a wonderful festival. Everyone enjoys chanting and dancing. Prasadam is being distributed, huge quantities. And in this way, we celebrate the Ratha Yatra. So Srila Prabhupada, as a young child, he also did Ratha Yatra. He wanted very much to do Ratha Yatra, and his father arranged it for him. When he was a small boy, they put on the festival for all the children, and they had a Ratha Yatra together. So Prabhupada liked so much that we began also having Ratha Yatra festivals. And Prabhupada actually told Jayapataka Swami Maharaj, he said, you should try to make the Calcutta Ratha Yatra festival as big as the one at Jagannath Puri. And really, it's become very, very wonderful there. If you ever go to Calcutta at that time, they have very, very wonderful Ratha Yatra festival. And the whole city of Calcutta knows about it. It's a very, very big festival, and many, many people come, lakhs of people come. And it goes on. With the deities come out for one day, and they will stay there at this one place for 1 week. And after 1 week, then they have a return Ratha Yatra. So they do it like that in Calcutta. Other places, we don't usually do that, you know. We just bring the deity out and take it around for some day, for an hour, a few hours, and then take back to the temple. But in Calcutta, they try to do it in a more elaborate manner. And they have the Ratha Yatra parade to one spot, and they have rented the whole ground, and they put on so many activities in the course of a week. And lakhs and lakhs of people come and have prasad up there every year. And we have constant kata. So many senior devotees that they come there and they'll give kata, Bhagavad kata, and question and answers, and drama and dances. So many different events all taking place. So it's a very wonderful event, Calcutta. So we're trying like this to develop more and more the Ratha Yatra, make it more and more popular. This way, more and more people around the whole world have come to know about Lord Jagannath and how to worship the Lord of the universe. It was Sripad Shankaracharya. He wrote the Jagannath Astikam. And the Jagannath had 8 verses glorifying Lord Jagannath. And at the end of each verse, he said, Jagannatha Swami Nayanu. Right, this is composed by Shankaracharya. O Lord of the universe, Lord Jagannath, kindly be visible unto me. So Ratha Yatra is the time where the Lord becomes visible. He comes out from the temple and he's giving darshan to everyone. So we like to celebrate this festival. It's very nice. Everyone likes festivals. This is the original street festival. Of course, we won't be doing it in the street, but anyway, we'll still celebrate this festival. Okay, any question, anybody? Yes, Prabhu?
Maharaj, thank you very, very much for sharing so many wonderful facts of Jagannath Rath Yatra and the significance of it. And my only question, Maharaj, is since the Rath Yatra is coming soon, so as a sadhaka, what should be our mood when we are really trying to pull the Rath?
What should be our mood? Well, that's my point. That the mood is bringing Krishna to Vrindavan, bringing Krishna back home to Vrindavan. That should be our mood. That's one way to have, anyway, to take part in Ratha Yatra. If you like, you can also think of it just simply Ratha Yatra is a festival in which we're introducing Lord Jagannath to the public. And we want more people to know about Krishna consciousness. And we take the opportunity to distribute the holy name through the chanting, through the Sankirtan. We're giving people the holy name. We give people prasadam. We want them also to taste prasadam, get the remnants of Lord Jagannath. And in this way, they'll be greatly benefited. Many people's spiritual life begins with Ratha Yatra. They attend the Ratha Yatra and they take an interest in Krishna consciousness from that time. So we can think of things in different ways according to the mood of devotee. You can be in the mood of bringing Krishna to Vrindavan, and so other people can be in the mood of giving Krishna consciousness to the audience, awakening their Krishna consciousness. Sankirtan, right? It's a glorification of the Lord, but it's also our propaganda that we have an opportunity to reach out, to meet people, to give the holy name, and to introduce them to the chanting of the names of the Lord. So it's a nice, very nice activity. And we all want to take part in Sankirtan, right? It's a Yuga Dharma. I visited one Swaminarayan temple one time and I saw they were showing Swaminarayan also attending the Ratha Yatra. And he was sitting on the chariot there, and they had him sitting on the chariot, they had the Jagannath. So Swaminarayan people also, they don't do Ratha Yatra, but they showed Swaminarayan taking part in the Ratha Yatra.
And also Maharaj in Abu Dhabi Bab's temple, they do Ratha Yatra.
Oh, they do Ratha Yatra?
Done by ISKCON and Uriya Samaj.
Yeah, done by ISKCON.
In the same.
Yeah.
And they join.
Oh, they joined.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, yeah. At the Abu Dhabi temple. So nice.
Haribol Prabhuji.
Yes?
So you have told Rohini is the mother of Bhagavan, and Devaki is the mother of Krishna. So I want to know about the Subhadra. What is the origin of Subhadra?
Subhadra is Krishna's sister.
Mother? Sister of Subhadra.
Who's the mother of Subhadra?
Yes.
Well, mother of Subhadra. We don't actually specify exactly. There are different opinions about who's the mother of Subhadra. Some people say, of course, at the time of the birth of Lord Krishna, Vasudeva brought Lord Krishna over to Gokul, to Nanda Maharaj's home. And Mother Yashoda, at that same time, she'd also given birth. And she'd given birth to two. She'd given birth to a boy and a girl, right? So that this is one way. There's one Subhadra there, but there's another Subhadra also who was residing there in Dwarka. You see, Vasudeva had several wives, and Subhadra was certainly the most attractive and very, very dear to Lord Krishna. So Arjuna married Subhadra. She was married to Arjuna. Arjuna actually, initially Lord Balaram was going to arrange her marriage to Duryodhana, yeah. But Arjuna was attracted to Subhadra. And Arjuna disguised himself. It's told in the Krishna book how Arjuna disguised himself like a sadhu, and he was observing fasting and doing chaturmasya, growing a beard and everything. And then at one point, he was invited into the palace at Dwarka, and he saw Subhadra, and Subhadra also, she liked Arjuna, and Arjuna took her for his wife. And she was there when the Pandavas went to Himalayas at the end of the departure of Lord Krishna. Subhadra and Draupadi, they went also with the Pandavas, the two wives. They also departed. So who is the mother of Subhadra? I don't actually know. To tell you honest truth, it's questionable, but we do know that she married to Arjuna. Right? Okay. Okay. Yes, Prabhu?
Hi, Krishna Maharaj. Thank you so much for this response. And when we see you, I just there's one song which plays in my mind. That when I see him, I know I have a long, long way to go. That when I see you, I feel the love that you're feeling. It's so nicely explaining, and we're also feeling when we feel that love. So thank you so much for giving us the blessings to come.
Hare Krishna.
And my question was in the morning also, you mentioned that non-Hindus are not allowed in the temple, in the Puri temple. Even in Lord Chaitanya's time, it was not allowed. And in fact, Lord Chaitanya would himself visit every day twice. And Haridas Thakur was with him. But he never told the pujaris that, why don't you allow him? He is like Namacharya. So in that sense, when I feel that, why is it still applicable? Will it change someday? Because the way I see, one day we were outside the temple around 1 o'clock, and we were with Prabhuji. And there was a foreigner devotee who started circumambulating the temple. And the Prabhuji who was with us, he said, this devotee, every day from 1 to 3 in the night, he circumambulates every day. So he asked me, who is having really the darshan of the Lord? Is he having or you having? Because if you've had darshan, then why are you still here? I mean, you should have, in the ecstatic mood. So I feel that it's kind of, more I hear, I feel more that all the devotees should be allowed. So how do we?
Well, in Srila Prabhupada's time, Srila Prabhupada, he himself would not go for darshan because he said, my disciples are not allowed. He said, I'm also not going. So, and in recent times, the government of Bengal, they've constructed one Jagannath Puri replica, a replica temple of Lord Jagannath. Huh? Diga, yeah, in Diga. And Diga is a holiday town and near the sea. And they've constructed the temple just almost like the Jagannath Puri temple. And they put deities there, Jagannath. And it's open for everyone. This is Mamata Banerjee. Banerjee. When she was the chief minister, she did this. Because actually they wouldn't let her in the temple. Because she'd been wearing, she was she'd been connected with the Islam people a bit and encouraging them. So they wouldn't let her in the temple. So yeah, they're very strict about who goes in the temple. And there was one time also the Princess of Thailand. She was the head of the World Buddhist Association. And she came there to Jagannath Puri. She also wanted to go in the temple. They wouldn't let her in. No. So they're very strict. It's the custom. And even they had a court decision that the temple should be open to people, but they rejected it. We don't care what the court said. We're not going to open the temple.
It can only happen.
So, probably, what about it? You let everybody come. And we worship Jagannath in our own way according to the ISKCON way.
Thank you. Thank you.
Yes, Maharaj.
Sorry, I would like to go back to 1971 when you were just getting started and you got initiated by. Just to understand the more, like, how did you accept, or when you're talking about this young lady who got the Jagannath doll, and so Srila Prabhupada just tried to say that, he's a deity and he's Jagannath, and we bow down to him. So how did that acceptance come so easily, or was it easy? And if it came, like, how did everybody believe? Because there are different sects in USA or Europe. Different belief systems are there, Orthodox versus so how did you believe in Jagannath Ji or
Well, we believed in Prabhupada. Prabhupada was the founder Acharya, he was the guide, he was the vision, and whatever he said, we took it as absolute. So we had full faith in Prabhupada. He was the authority, and certainly we never felt any doubt about what Prabhupada was telling us to do.
Maharaj, you also saw the 3 deities which were brought from the store?
From where?
From the store, the 3 deities you also saw, Maharaj?
The dolls? No.
The deities from the store.
The first Ratha
Yatra you also saw?
No, I didn't see that. No, that was San Francisco. I joined in London.
And where are the 3 deities now, from Maharaj?
San Francisco.
Oh,
they're still there.
They're still there.
Berkeley, actually. The Berkeley temple. Yeah. Yeah, the 3 deities which were carved by a devotee. They're there in Berkeley. So that temple was called New Jagannath Puri. Yeah, we have deities in London. When Prabhupada opened London temple also, he wanted deity, so they had Radha Landaneshwara, and then they also added Jagannath Baladev Subhadra. And they were also carved by the same devotee.
Oh, yeah.
So anyway, Jagannath has become certainly very popular. Everyone enjoys the Ratha Yatra festival. It's very nice. And in the course of the Ratha Yatra, there's other festivals like Herapanchami, which takes place on the 5th day, when Lakshmi, the goddess of fortune, comes out of the temple and goes to Gundicha. She wants to know where her husband is, why he hasn't come home.
Same problem.
Usual problem.
Same problem.
Yes. So a lot of humor, a lot of amusement. Described nicely in Chaitanya Charitamrita. Everyone should read Chaitanya Charitamrita. You can read about Lord Chaitanya and how they celebrated Ratha Yatra. And all the different villages would all come from Bengal to attend the Ratha Yatra. And they would all have their own kirtan parties. And Lord Chaitanya would organize all the different kirtan parties around each of the chariots. And Srila Prabhupada also would arrange like that. We had the Ratha Yatra in New York on the 5th Avenue. And Prabhupada called 5th Avenue, said the most important street in the world, probably. That goes right through the heart of New York City. So the Ratha Yatra takes place there. And Prabhupada organized it. We have the chariots. Prabhupada brought all the buses and the vehicles which the devotees have. It was like something like the May Day Parade, on the 1st of May, you know, and if you go to Russia or somewhere, you see all the military and everything and all the weapons and guns and everything. So Prabhupada had all the devotees and the kirtan parties. So Lord Chaitanya also would have like the different villages would come with all the madangas and the kartals. And there would be, so each village would have their own kirtan group and they would be around the chariots, dancing, performing kirtan. And in this way making the festival very, very lively and very absorbing. So some days even they cannot get the chariot there in one day. One day is not enough. It takes another day to pull the chariot to reach Gundicha. Sometimes the chariot moves very fast and sometimes the chariot won't move because it's all it's the by the arrangement of Lord Jagannath. And some people they come there with the intention, they want to go under the wheels of Jagannath. They want to give up their body under the wheels of Lord Jagannath. So it's always a big problem trying to keep the crowds back.
Yeah.
We have even sometimes it happens in the Western countries. Sometimes you get people they want to get crushed by Jagannath. So we have to be careful. If that kind of thing happens, of course, then it's a big problem. You have to have a lot of insurance. You go on the road with a Ratha Yatra car, and you have to have a big insurance. You don't want to get any trouble. Okay, Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
His Holiness Bhakti Vignana Narasimha Swami Maharaj ki
Thank you.